Focus will be on the top caption on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. You have World Bank projects 4 trillion naira 2022 fuel subsidy. Experts predicts more loans. Underneath, Nigeria could spend 360 billion naira monthly on subsidy, says World Bank. And federal government will borrow more to finance the rising fuel subsidy payment. These are some statement or the statement quoted or credited to experts. NNPC releases additional 381.8 million liters of fuel and queues lessen. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, others in charge during my United Kingdom checkup. That's what the president is quoted to say. You remember that at some point in the question that a lot of Nigerians are asking is there, this letter that has communicated this particular instruction, or is it just a verbal statement that's been put out? We find out more as we talk with our analyst this morning. Implement 2009 agreement fund or short varsities, says ASU. ASU is asking the government to implement the 2009 agreement, fund or short the varsities. That's what ASU is saying. APC chairman meet today. Uncertainty surrounds zonal congresses and court workers threaten first strike over judicial autonomy. 19 doctors to appear before the MDCN for misconduct. That's also on the Punch. And just before we move away, arrested Randy husband seeks forgiveness for raping in-law for 3 years. Really sad. And BRT abduction victim 72-year-old mother seeks government's help and suspect arrested. NDLEA seizes 294,440 tramadol tablets. Others arrested in 41 in nationwide raids. Lagos driver crushes 4 siblings. Others, as you have the youth protest. Failed politicians plotting comeback to destroy Kwara. That's what you find on. Okay, so that's what you find on the Punch newspaper this morning. Away from the Punch, we'll take a look at the Nation newspaper. APC zoning panel submits report amid disagreement. Leaders split over key National Working Committee position. Buhari, we will overcome crisis. I mean, just as everyone is waiting for the convention to happen, looking at the 26th, we're hoping that the APC will not have another shift. Oshun 2023 PDP balls over primaries delegate list. 1.5 million flee Ukraine to escape Russians bombing. And that's what you find. And 1,076 Nigerians are back home. You still have others that are stranded, and we're hoping that the government would intensify effort to evacuate these young Nigerians. UBA posts 153 billion naira full-year profits, and that's what to be very precise. Now, away from the Nation and the Punch, let's bomb Anambra communities for weapons and others. PDP APC trade tackles over more destructive party to Nigerians. WHO releases first malaria vaccine and a recommendation guideline. Really interesting. I mean, if we are being plagued with malaria, especially if you look at Nigeria, we would be thinking at this point in time we probably would have come out with a vaccine that can actually solve the problem. Arewa youth warn against political conspiracy on fuel scarcity. That's it. And UBA posts 153 billion profits and gross balance sheet by 2%, if I'm not mistaken. Well, that's it this morning on the Guardian newspaper. That's so much we can take on our national dailies. We do have our guest joining the conversation, and Okunabo Nkotaria, who's a public affairs analyst. Okunabo, it's good to have you join us this morning, and we really appreciate your time on the breakfast.
Good morning, my sister. Good morning, Nigeria.
Can you please take that again?
I said it froze, so I didn't get that.
So I would like to share your thoughts on the projection of World Bank, saying that Nigeria might be spending or will spend 4 trillion naira for 2022 in terms of fuel subsidy. Now, experts are saying that we might just be at the era of borrowing more funds.
Well, that is World Bank projection. I am not in any position to contradict it because I'm not an economist. That is number one, and I have not done any research on that. I believe that is a function of the research that World Bank has done. And you said analysts are also saying, or the point said analysts are also saying, we are going to borrow more to fund this fraudulent oil subsidy we talked about. I'm not surprised when it comes to borrowing for more because this is a government that has this penchant for borrowing. So it relishes in borrowing rather than looking inwards to generate funds. And they borrow, the president probably not for any sinister motive, but his lieutenants definitely for sinister motive because that's how they make a lot of money. So we're going to borrow rather than turn around the refineries, rather than probe the turnaround maintenance in the refineries, and also to ascertain why the refineries are not working. Despite the billions being invested in turnaround maintenance, the government is not interested. It's completely listless when it comes to turning around the refineries. There is no sincerity of purpose. They just believe because you have the cabal, the microscopic view, that benefit tremendously from the issue of importing, refining these products outside. Can you imagine you take our products out? It is unheard of, ridiculous. Refine them over there and import them and pay. Meanwhile, at the same time you claim to be turning around the refineries, you're spending more money on importation. How do you reconcile this madness? You know, so this is the government that it has a penchant, it relishes, it enjoys borrowing money, and it will continue to borrow. On the issue of the World Bank projection, it must have been based on the analysis. That must have been planned on analysis of the World Bank. They must have done their own investigations and would have probably come up with that. So what else do you want me to say? That the federal government will not borrow? No, now, if we talk of borrowing, even if it means to borrow to import sand, this federal government will borrow to import sand. Even if it means to borrow to import water, this government will borrow to import water. The injection needle, the government will borrow to buy injection.
So let's still stay with this. I understand. Pardon. That's what you're saying. Maybe don't you think that we should have a turnaround? Maybe we should reconsider the issue of fuel subsidy.
Mercy,
if we're going to be spending 360 billion now.
Mercy, I don't know if you're listening carefully, brother. Because the questions you just asked now, I addressed all of this. I said the government has spent so much in the turnaround maintenance of our refinery. And nothing, so much put into the system and nothing has come out. I mentioned that. I said, and that is because the whole process is being stymied by a microscopic few that are fraudulent, and they enjoy from the fruits of this corruption. That is why. Then again, I also said that we are spending so much on turnaround maintenance while the federal government is simultaneously borrowing money for the same purpose. And I said because the government has a pension, and that is as a result of people enjoying, they reap the fruits of this crime. They are beneficiaries of the fruits of this crime. So they will definitely, whether you like it or not, try to truncate any effort to turn around. So the turnaround maintenance is also another way of satisfying cornies. There is no sincerity of purpose. I said all this. So then I told you that it will be difficult to stop, especially under this administration that has that law, relative borrowing. So there is, what else do you want to say? Well, if you talk of the amount, I told you, I also said, what is the reasonableness in borrowing, in importing fuel? We have the refineries there, nothing like subsidy. And vilified past administration on the issue of subsidy. Now he came into office and said, oh, it must continue with the subsidy. One breath, it has this schizophrenic personality on the issue of subsidy. In another breath, he said, oh, it cannot continue. Initially, he said no subsidy. Later, he said it has to continue. Now, later, you are telling Nigerians again that you cannot continue with the subsidy because it's having a toll on the nation's finances. What do you want me to say? I just told you again, I said, even if it's borrowing to import water, the government will borrow to import it. If it's borrowing to import sand, the government will borrow to import sand. It is borrowing. Not the borrowing is not planned. It's not premised on necessity. It is just premised on ecocentricity, based on to further align certain pockets of certain countries. That is why the government is borrowing. And that is why the refineries will never, never, ever be properly maintained. Otherwise, you've been in government. You promised, preceding your swearing in, that it will not take you more than 6 months, 8 months, or thereabouts to turn around the refinery. You are now in the twilight of your administration. We are still borrowing to import. What other explanation do you want? Other than, and if you talk of the amount.
This morning, ASU is saying to the government, adhere to the agreement of 2009 or shut the universities or fund them or you just move away. This seems to be very, very, it's a drastic statement if you ask me.
Well, ASU is thundering. I am Brimstone. Yes, as drastic as it might seem, I also don't have confidence in ASU anymore. ASU is like NLC. Of course, it's a part of NLC. Most times they come out, clamor, shout for attention. And when they get their attention, and some of them are given envelopes. Envelope, of course, signifies bribery. Are given money. They go back and keep quiet. And when they're when their pockets are exhausted, they make another noise. Because I have always said it, even on this station, that look, we all know this is a government that cannot be trusted. It's a government that is devoid of refuge. It's a government that speaks from both sides of the mouth, known for its double speak. If the government, you went on strike initially, the first time, you had an agreement with the government reneged. You did it the second time. You reached an accommodation with the government reneged. There was a breach on the part of the government. The third time, the fourth time, ASU, you also have a problem. We agree, we need an overhaul of the measures 2 to 3 times. Mercy, you no longer go back to work until the terms are met. You don't go back to work. You don't do that. So that it's going to be once and for all. I listened to the Labour Minister on a sister channel, was just blabbing gibberish, talking absolute nonsense. That is a medical doctor who's well educated. From the whole effort. And now you want to renegotiate. Meanwhile, you're spending X amount. Why will you give it 100 million naira to Afghanistan or what? This is country that the president just released 100 million dollars to? For what? Meanwhile, your institutions here are dying, starving of funds. You're giving $100 million to a country. I mean, what kind of rudderless system do we have? Insensitive system do we have? But I don't blame the government. They are known for that. Once and for all. Most of these parents don't even have. Now, okay, you can imagine. We are probably you are supposed to graduate in 2019, and because of the ASU strike, you are graduating in 2022 or 2023. Your father dies in 2020. Then for the strike, you would have graduated before the death of your father. Now your father dies. Because of the death of your father, there's nobody to train you in school. You drop out of school in your final year. A lot of things happen as a result of this strike. So I'm going on strike. They'll go on strike for 8 months. The rent will expire. You're going back, you're renewing again.
Okunabo, are you saying that it is the corruption of ASU that has made the agreement from 2009, the government not, implementing the agreement? Are you saying that corruption from ASU?
You say, Mercy, give me 10 naira. I'll pay you tomorrow. You give to me. It took me 1 year to pay that 10 naira. Or to even give you 5 naira, half of it. I come again, Mercy, give me 20 naira. You give it to me. It took me another 20 years to. But if you continue, then definitely there's something you're benefiting from it. You're benefiting from it. Otherwise, you will not. And that is the issue between ASU and the federal government. They are corrupt. ASU is as corrupt as the federal government. As corrupt as if not more corrupt. When they are broke, they go on strike. When they are broke, they go on strike. For what? Go on strike once and for all, and we know that you've gone on strike.
Okay.
because don't go on strike again. It's as simple as that.
Let's just look at this one.
Well, this, excuse me, Mr. Smith, a letter to the National Assembly to that effect. I commend them. In fact, that was when he enjoined himself to the hearts of Nigerians, because he performed well. You know? Because if you are just a vice president and you're the acting president, there are constitutional limits to certain things you will do. And that is why the law requires that there must be that transmission of letter. It's ordinary ought not to be news. It's simple. Hey, I signed this. He's going to act in my stead. But just because of some very funny lieutenants around the president, oh, if you do this, oh, he's going to do that, oh, don't do this, you're going to give him too much power. And so it's so ridiculous. That will tell you the kind of characters we have in office. But how can you have an attorney general of the federation, a minister for justice? He should advise the president. You can't travel for so months without transmitting. These are the... What will we take away? That is the kind of distorted mentality of Nigeria.
Okay.
If you watch abroad, just a second. Watch. When the American president is addressing the nation or a group, you have just one lectern there. Now you see seal of the United President of America. You see there, or United States or whatever. That same lectern, without their removing that seal, is used by whoever is going to speak. If you've not observed it, observe it. But we are so power drunk here that even when the governor is to speak, oh no, the governor's lectern must be different. Corrupt thinking, corrupt minds. And it's so sad that Mr. President is our president. Let me not say something. All right? Basically, somebody comes to you to say they want to slice the ears of your son. Will you allow it? Or your daughter, will you allow it? Will you allow it? Because that is what he's doing. As old as he is, a former head of, as old as he is, why will you submit yourself to all kinds of stupid advice? Don't forget, as a former military head of state.
Maybe that's where the problem lies.
With you, my dear Mercy, I will not disagree with you. That's why I said, what of
Look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. I'd like to share your thoughts on this one. The fact that the new national carrier may take off in the second quarter, that's of 2022, as the bid opens this week. And this might just be another good news for Nigerians in the midst of all of the confusion and the hardship that's ongoing.
Oh, God. What is NCAA? What is that organization again called? NCAA, is it? Help me now. Messi.
I have no idea what you're thinking at the time.
Aviation, whatever, Nigerian aviation, whatever, has doubted it because that certain things have not been done. So it has doubted it. The minister said before they leave office. Later he said June next year. Now they are saying second quarter. What are we going to believe? So in situations like this, it is watch sit down look. If it kicks off, fine. But you'll be very much surprised that they are trying to expedite action on this because of the money they are going to make from it. Then when it gets close to the second quarter, they come up with another excuse. It will not take off. My dear, you can go to bank with this. It will not take off. Because the man has said, before they leave office, that's the minister, then later he said, June next year. So what has changed? What has changed? They're in a hurry to make money, to make the treasury. Oh, if we get this, it can be done, so release X amount. If we get this, it can be done, release X amount. They might even commission, no. I'm not saying they will not commission, no. They might commission. After all, we've lived in a country where generator was used to commission turbine. And immediately after the president left, the generator went off, and that was it. And the president called the governor, Ole. You should know who is fond of saying this kind of thing. The president at that time. He said, Ole. It happened. It happened. Where generator was used to commission turbine. So anything can happen. They can stop in an aircraft because money must change hands. They need the cash. If they don't start now, the president might say, well, let my successor continue. I'm not interested in that. So how can then we are stupid? No, we must tell him that if we do this, then it will start. If we do that, he takes the credit, let us do it. We need money. Then once the funds are released, they tell you, oh, the partners abroad that came up with this excuse. Oh, there are some legal cops. Oh, there are this. And you hear, it will not pick up. It will not pick up. It's not even a priority of Mr. President. It's not even a priority. So it will not pick up. The man's priority.
Let's also look at another one, Opunabo, because we're almost out of time now. And I'd like to share your thoughts on this one. Because following the constitutional review that's ongoing of the 1999 Constitution, set indefinite industrial action following the failure of some states in Nigeria to implement